What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Almost Awesome Show, episode 16, I think. How are you guys doing? I hope you're all having a fantastical Saturday. I'm wearing a hat today because I was lazy and didn't feel like doing my hair. And I just got out of bed and really didn't do anything. So, hope everybody's having a good week this week or weekend. I am joined by not one but two guests this week. And, of course, I am Jake, per usual, your host here at my own channel, so you probably already knew that. And I am joined today by, as always, wrong one, Nick. How are you doing, Nick?
I'm good, as always.
Nick, as always, is good.
Yep.
As always. That's good. Good to hear. But we are also joined by the always amazing Triv from Trivial Theater. How are you doing, Triv?
I'm not doing too bad, and it's Triv, bitches.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Triv bitches.
That's
right.
okay.
Triv
That's
bitches.
okay.
Damn it, Jacob, you ruined it all.
I
Cancel
am
this
so sorry.
program. She's
Well-
never coming back.
Oh, piss off.
But we have Triv. It's going to be a little bit different today. Not in content wise. We do have a few stories to talk about today that we're going to go through. I also have a preview, not a full review. I have a review coming out later today on the channel for a new show. You could probably guess what that is, but it wasn't quite ready, and it's a little bit longer, so I didn't want to include it on today's show. So I do have like a little teaser of that, a little blooper reel thing that I put at the end. Just a little teaser to give you an idea of what's coming with that. That'll be after this show finishes up. I'll post that up probably 3 or 4 Central Time this afternoon, so be on the lookout for that. We also have a live review we're going to do today of a very interesting movie. It's actually a Patreon requested movie I had from one of my Patreons, Silverlock, one of my top tier bad motherfuckers, and he requested this movie actually a little while back. I fell a little behind on that stuff, but we're taking care of that today. Now that's where the change is going to be. Nick is going to have to drop out around that time, and it's just going to be me and Triv talking about that part of the show. We watched it last night, and yeah, it was... I'll let you guys know what that movie is in just a little while, but Jesus, it's something. But Triv was with me while we watched it last night, and I think we had a pretty good time with it, huh?
Oh, dude. Silverlock, you are a fucking god, man. Absolute awesome person. I appreciate the fact that I have been introduced to an instant classic.
Yep, we were introduced to something, that's for sure. This is an interesting film, but all right, well, I guess with that, all that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into this week's news bits. You know what they are. The little news stories of the week that aren't quite big enough for their own story, but we don't want to forget them. They need to be talked about, just the little things. And our first one of the day is Nick, Triv, you guys go to the theaters a lot, especially you, Nick. You go to the theater quite a bit, and you both, I'm sure, go to AMC theaters. Am I correct?
Oh,
You
yeah.
lie.
Oh, yeah.
I don't go to any movies, ever. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, most people do, and AMC is one of the biggest theater chains out there. And if you've ever been to an AMC theater, even if you haven't, you've probably been on YouTube or somewhere and seen a little commercial that Nicole Kidman does, where somehow heartbreak feels good in a place like this. We've all seen that. We've all seen the trailer. Well, they're making a sequel. Somehow heartbreak is going to feel good in a place like this again. Apparently, this little trailer thing that they probably thought was going to be nothing ended up being a huge thing, and it became kind of a meme, pretty much. I've seen it so many times I can almost recite the damn thing myself verbatim. They are making a sequel to it. They signed Nicole Kidman for another year, and they're making another one of these things that will be hitting AMC theaters sometime in the near future. I don't know about you guys, but I'm super excited about this. I can't wait to see what is going to feel good in a place like this again. How about you guys? I guess really, honestly...
Sorry. All I can picture is they're gonna install the seats. I don't know why my brain went there.
Man, what kind of theater has Triv been going to, man? This is
AMC.
good stuff.
It's a 4D theater, 40X, the triple DX theater she's been going to.
Man, I knew I felt weird when I went to a 40X cinema one time. Oh my god.
What is it? Anal? I've been trying to think. Anal much classics.
Well, there it is right there.
Anal movie classics.
And we've already got off the rails, people.
Well, that's what it is right there. Is why someone may ask, why are you doing this? And it comes down to the reason for everything on the show, because anal. That's why. But yeah, we're getting another one. I guess the first thing, besides that, of course, what Triv brought to our attention, the first thing that comes to mind when I hear this news is, do you think that they're gonna because this first one they actually shot serious and it just kind of became
they gave her $20 million fucking dollars for that, by the way.
Holy
and
fuck,
half
really?
that money went to the spangly suit she was wearing.
Yeah.
Jesus.
You
I
want to
didn't
hear
know it was that
something
much.
more? You want to hear something more insane? The guy who wrote it is known for writing stuff like Shattered Glass, The Hunger Games, Captain Phillips, and our all-time favorite, Volcano.
Oh my god.
Well, that's why.
And Terminator Dark Fate.
Oh my god.
Well, he's the one who's writing this one too, by the way. They called him and said, apparently, hey, would you like to do another one? And he said, it's already done.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment and add to... Oh, sorry.
No. I was saying it's in the email.
I was going to add, Jacob, I think you've seen more AMC commercials with Nicole Kidman than you have actually seen movies, yeah? Just given your experience with Thor and what was the other one?
Bullet Train.
Yeah.
Which I did finally see. I realized I didn't tell everybody. I finally saw Bullet Train. Good time. Go check it out if you... Or maybe wait when it comes home, check it out. I don't know if it's necessarily worth going to see in movie theaters, but it was a fun flick. But yeah, I've been to a bunch of broken movies recently, and they always got that one in, though. I always got to see Nicole Kidman. There was one day I saw that trailer in a theater 4 times, but I didn't see a fucking movie.
But that's all the movie you need, really, is Nicole Kidman staring at a screen. I mean, that's better than, I don't know, at least an eighth of the movies that have been made, this year.
I'll tell you what, when that was happening, Heartbreak did not feel good in a place like that. I was sitting there driving all that way and didn't get to see these fucking movies.
It's because you didn't have a dildo underneath you.
That may be it. That may have made it all the better, but I digress. But do you guys think that since this thing has kind of taken on meme status, are they gonna still do it serious, or are they gonna just play into the whole thing? Because I think that they should. I think it's like a real thin line. I think that they should still keep it serious like they did the last one, because that's what made it so meme worthy, but play into it just a little bit. I think they should play into it just a little bit, have a little a side eye or something like that. Do you guys think, how do you think they're going to go with this thing?
I think you have
they
to
should have her...
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think you have to be super careful, because despite all the people that will get the meme and appreciate it, you're still talking a good chunk of the public not understanding that part of it and just going, well, they're not taking things seriously. I'm taking my business elsewhere. And then AMC tanks again. And then we're stuck with, I don't know what we're stuck with after that. 4D porn theaters or something like that only show reruns of 50 Shades of Grey.
But you see, with that effect, she used to say, movie theaters are for Hummers like this. And she walks in, and somebody's in the background go, ooh, 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 ooh.
I just hope they do have to work in somehow Heartbreak is gonna or feels good in a place like this, some way, shape, form, or fashion, because that's
Hummers feel like a good place.
Thing.
They have when Batman, the Nolan Batman, when he gets his back broken, that just goes,
yeah.
And then it goes to her and it goes, Heartbreak feels good on the big screen.
Because I think it's been a Creed where he's sitting there and he does that thing, and she's like, somehow Heartbreak feels good in a place like this. Yeah, they should have Batman getting his fucking ass broken or something. That's what it should be.
Should do the what's that movie? The Martin Scorsese video.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, exactly.
I just jerked off 15 times in the bathroom.
Jerking off feels good in a place like this.
Somehow, have Pee Wee Herman show up in the background, just like in the Paul Rubens way off in the back in a seat, and he's like, somehow jerking off feels good in a place like this. Okay, anyway, this is going off the fucking rails. Moving on to the next thing. All right.
So anyway, Nicole Kidman, because anal.
Because anal, yeah. That's
and Homer's in a place like this.
If you like that commercial though, folks, we're getting some more of it in the immediate future. I doubt it takes too long to record these things, or film these things. So, another small little bit this week is Mr. Show. I don't know if anybody else knows what that is, but I do. I used to love Mr. Show.
Bob Odenkirk and David Cross.
Yeah, David Cross and Bob Odenkirk. And you may know Bob Odenkirk as Saul from Better Call Saul. And also he was in a movie last year called Nobody that nobody saw, being a good movie, but it ended up being really good, from the makers of John Wick, or creators of John Wick. And, well, Mr. Show wants to continue the gun show because Bob Odenkirk, who just finished Better Call Saul, is saying that he wants to do more action movies like Nobody, because apparently he had a heart attack somewhat recently, and getting in shape for Nobody, he says, saved his life and has improved his quality of life tremendously, and he wants to do more of these movies. So Bob Odenkirk at, like, I don't know, he's 60 or somewhere in there, wants to become an action star. But you know what? It worked for Keanu Reeves. He ain't 60, but, you know, he's getting up there.
It worked for Liam Neeson.
Yeah, it worked for Liam Neeson. I mean, he needs the help of 52 cuts to jump over a fence, but it worked for him, so go for it, Bob Odenkirk. I mean, Bob Odenkirk, I think, is probably in a little bit better shape than Liam Neeson, but...
Kind of worked for Harrison Ford until he keeps falling out, or keeps crashing in planes, you know?
Yeah, and breaking hips and stuff, but... So, if, pretty much, I mean, not much there. If you liked Nobody and you like Bob Odenkirk and Better Call Saul, well, he's gearing up to do more. He's looking for more action projects like that. And I thought that was pretty cool because I really liked Nobody. I do hope that they have a Nobody John Wick crossover at some point, which they have said. Everybody was joking about it when the movie came out. The creators have said, you know what, it's not totally out of the ballpark. I mean, maybe we'll see. So it's at least on their minds. I think it could be cool. I don't necessarily need like a team up movie, but I think it could be cool if they connected those two worlds, because they do seem very, like, I could totally see those two worlds taking place in the same place. Did you guys like Nobody, and are you excited to see Bob Odenkirk pumping iron and becoming more Nobody?
Can we have?
Good.
No, I said, can we have John Wick and whoever Liam Neeson played in Taken, and Bob Odenkirk and Nobody just have just play cards at a table? You know, that's all. That's all we need. Just playing cards, and then all of a sudden, 25 cuts.
I want that crossover. The John Wick, Taken, and Nobody. It'd be John Wick is taking Nobody, or something like that. I don't know. I shouldn't make titles, but yeah, I want those three as a buddy cop movie or buddy assassin movie. Yeah, make this happen. Whoever owns
Taking Wick by Nobody.
Yeah. Nobody's taking Wick off anybody, or I don't know. Anyway, let's move forward because I'm butchering this. So yeah, more Nobody-esque content from our good friend Mr. Show. All right, so Warner Brothers. I'm sorry, before we jump to Warner Brothers, let's jump into the little bit of video game news we have this week real quick, and that would be about Halo Infinite. For those of you that enjoy that game, I did for a while. I haven't played it in a while, but it's not because the game's not good. It's just because I know it's had a checkered past up to this point, but I don't play online games that much. I enjoyed what I played of it. They had this whole thing about co-op multiplayer being not there at launch, and it was coming later on, and people were all up in a uproar about that shit, and I get it. I get where they were coming from. I see both sides of it. Well, co-op is, as I reported a few weeks ago, it either is there now or it is coming extremely soon. However, couch co-op, i.e. Same box sitting next to each other on the couch playing it together co-op, has been canceled, at least for now, and will not be there. And this is, they say the first, I swear there was another Halo game that did this, but I could be wrong. This is the first time that you will not be able to play a Halo game on couch co-op, and people are up in arms, and they're really pissed about it. I know, Triv, you don't play video games that much and probably don't have a huge knowledge of Halo or give a shit. But Nick, I know you do. We played it together, and we've talked about it many times. You have a past with Halo. Do you give a shit? Or, people are really pissed about this. What's your take on it? Can't hear you, Nick.
That's what he has to say.
I cop
right
a lot, so I cop. Actually, you're supposed to interpret, Jacob, what I say.
Oh, I absolutely did, but I don't think I don't think everybody else did.
No. Yeah, I am pissed about this because the one thing that this version of Halo Infinite, if you play it, there's something missing from the game, and that game is co-op because it's so massive, it's so wide. It feels like it's empty, and the reason for that is because it needs fucking co-op in the game. And I know they're going to do online co-op, and yes, that'll be allowed. But let's say like you and I were roommates or something like that, and we like playing Halo and all that stuff. Now we can't fucking do that. Now I have to go in my bedroom, my shitty bedroom. You have to go into your shitty bedroom and play fucking each other. It just doesn't make any sense. And it's not the worst thing in the world. I've seen a lot worse come from other studios, but yeah, we're gonna fucking each other. No, I'm just no, but honestly, it's like I don't want to have to go to my bedroom. You have to go to your bedroom just to play the same game when we could play in the the living room or some shit. It just the kind of stuff. No, I was gonna say that's the kind of stuff that Microsoft is pissing me off about. It's like the whole co-op situation for this game is like nobody's playing this game anymore for that simple reason. Like if they had put that in the very beginning, this game would have more life than it has. So
I've defended this game a bit, but I do have to say on this one, yeah, I've played the earlier games. I played co-op a bit. Me and my wife have played in co-op a bit, and I play this game co-op. Me personally, knowing where I am, probably not. But I would like the option to, and I get that a lot, because I had a lot of good times with co-op on couch co-op with the Halo games over the years. What I don't understand is, because they have online co-op done, why? Why can't you... It seems like the in-person co-op would be easier to make happen. I'm not a video game programmer or maker or any of that, so I can't say. It just seems like it wouldn't be that difficult to make it work for in-person co-op. It'd be pretty self-explanatory. Some people could say, well, it takes up more processing power because you're doing the screen twice. It's on the fucking Series X. I know the damn thing has enough power to do it, so I don't understand because you have multiplayer, you have same box multiplayer, and that's the same thing. So I don't understand why they can't just give the people what they want. They've had such a rough time with this game. Just why would you do this? Just give them what the fuck they're saying they want this. Give it to them, so it's one less thing people can fire back at you. I don't get this. This is a weird decision from 343, and they've done some really good things with this game because the game as a whole, I thought was really good. It was entertaining. It was very well made, but it's the shit that they've done after the fact, and it doesn't affect me personally, but a lot of the online stuff they've done, I know people that do play in that space. I get why they're kind of irritated by it. Like the single player and the gameplay, great. I was really happy with it. It had a weird release, but you know what? I was cool with it. Whatever. But this, I'm just like, why are you doing this? It don't make any sense. I don't get what the fuck. You're damaging the brand further. And they really damaged the brand with Halo 5 and even with the Master Chief Collection. Originally, they came back from that.
That was bad.
Yeah. That had a really shitty launch. They came back from it. Now it's like a great deal and it's an awesome game. But they don't need to do that with this one. They needed to hit this out of the park. And they don't need to do shit like this where they're just like taking shit out that people have always had. I don't understand why that is, but they're doing it. It is what it is. Now, the way it's worded, it does kind of make it sound like maybe in the future. We'll see. I don't know. Because I feel like this is just kind of... If they do it like a year from now, it ain't going to matter. You need to do it now or never. So
no, they should have done it like 8 months ago. Now sure. I don't give a shit. Now I'm not going to go back and play it now because I have no reason to play it.
They should have done it when the single player came out. When the single player came out, or at least within that window. If it was like a month or two after the single player came out, I would have been like, okay, I get it. They had a lot of moving parts and all that. Whatever. I don't know how all that works. I think people may have been like, at first, but then they would have got over it and been cool. But then, what is this? A year and a half? It's like a year later. When did that game come out? It's like a year later.
Came out in November.
Yeah,
Came out in November.
We're almost a year out, and now you're saying, "Oh, we're just not doing this." It's too late. It's too late. You're not doing it now. Just fucking don't do it, and you're just damaging your brand further. And that sucks because that's a great brand, and I mean, it's been around for 20-something years now, and they're just they've made a great. That's what pisses me off. They made a good game, but the decisions they make after the fact, they just can't get their shit together. I don't know what's going on over there at 343, but something needs to happen. I don't know, but it is what it is. If you're looking forward to that, sorry, you can do it online. So I guess there's silver linings. All right, so Warner Brothers, and I lied. This is not the only time we're going to talk about it today, but Warner Brothers, they've been on a canceling spree lately. They canceled something else today, or not today, a few days ago. Do you know what that could possibly be, Nick? Or Triv?
Batgirl? Again, just to make their point?
Yeah, they just came out and said, we're canceling Batgirl again. Fuck you. Well, I'll tell you what it is. They are canceling, or have canceled, the 2022 edition of DC Fandom.
Oh,
the
yes.
little
Good.
expo that they started in 2020 with the pandemic.
That I fell asleep watching.
Done well. I mean, yeah, it's like 8, 9, 10 hours long. I get it. It's kind of like their expo virtually, and they just put it all out there. It did well. I mean, it was popular. People overall, I think, liked it. I mean, it was I think I would have liked more like a just kind of smaller bits, bite-sized bits, if you will. But no, they decided to do a whole day's worth of streaming for it. Okay, whatever.
Well, 2020 was good. No, 2020 was good. Last year was not so much. Last year was real bad.
Well, I have it. I picked up the news off of them, but I never watched them. I know people enjoyed them, but I can get behind. This is a cancellation. Now, the other cancellations that Warner Brothers has done here recently, and the restructuring and all that, while I can get behind the whole idea of it all, I can't necessarily say why. I can only go off of what they're saying, like the whole Batgirl thing and Supergirl and all that stuff. I don't know. This one I can actually get behind. The reason they gave, I think, is actually a good reason. Because what I said a few weeks ago concerning Warner Brothers is you need to shut the fucking doors. You need to make sure all this news that's coming out about you guys, all this info, stops. You need to put up under construction. We'll get back with you in 6 months. And that's more or less what they're doing here. David Zaslav came out and pretty much said, look, we got a lot of restructuring going on right now. We're changing things up, doing massive changes. We're not going to do DC Fandom because some of this stuff is up in the air. Some of the stuff we're not ready to announce. And let us get our shit together, and then we will talk to you later. They did say that they will be at some other cons, some other like Comic Cons and things like that throughout the year, and they will have stuff to release then. But you know what? I think that's good. I would have rather them do that than come out with this thing and either A, have nothing, have a bunch of fluff bullshit, or say some stuff and then in a month or two be like, no, never mind. That's not happening. I think that Warner Brothers needs to get their shit together and then let everybody know, hey, here's what we got. Relaunch the brand, if you will. I don't know. What are you guys' take on this? Nick, it seems like you're like good. You didn't like it anyway, but Triv, what about you, Triv? What do you think about this?
From just a straight up, like, fandoms aside, all that stuff aside, it's one of those things where, what was the Nemoidian from Star Wars? He says, we will report something when we have something to report. Right now, like you said, what are they going to say? Like, it's going to be a 5-minute announcement of, oh, hey, Flash movie is coming out. Ben Affleck is coming back for parts of that, and that's, and Shazam and Black Adam. Nothing is new. Nothing is, they literally have nothing to talk about until they get their ducks in a row as to what's going to happen when. So, yeah, I mean, if you're going to, it's one thing to cancel a movie. It's another thing to cancel something like this. And, people anyway draw from so much shit as it is. Like, oh, they didn't talk about this, but, such and so showed up because, he was there. Oh, that must mean whatever project is going on. It's like, no, that doesn't mean anything. That just, he randomly showed up. People will take that and run and speculate regardless. The less you can give them to speculate on, the better.
I agree. I think this is a good thing. Absolutely a good thing. And yeah, the less you're giving them right now, you don't Warner Brothers, there's plenty of speculation. You don't need to put anything. You don't need to put any more bullets in the fucking gun. Just shut your fucking mouths. Lock that shit down and re-release it later on. Nick, you got any other thoughts on this?
In the immortal words of one Terrence and Phillip during a certain movie called Acid of Fire, shut your fucking face, Uncle Fucker.
Yes.
With that said, I agree with what Trev and you guys have said. They need to regroup. They need to reset everything and just kind of go with it. I mean, it doesn't help them to go, we're having a DC fandom, and like Trev said, hey, here's some shit you've already seen before. Guess what? We're actually going to show you some tennis shoes and a car. Maybe we're going to give Batman a Hummer in the back. I mean, it just at this point, it's just like, who cares? Just, whatever. Just give it a year when David Zaslav is finally not being, basically kicked to the curb by everyone, even though he's only been there for like 3 months. It's just let the shit cool and, do a fandom or whatever in a couple years or a year, and that'll be it. That's how I look at it.
I agree.
Well, and say what you will, I'm not, the way things have come out, I'm not the biggest fan of I can't say his name.
Zaslav.
Thank you. I kept thinking Zaz like the bad guy from Birds of Prey.
A Warner Brothers property, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. But say what you will, this is from at least the stuff that's come out. This is the least PR-ish nightmare thing that they've had. So I think that says something good.
Well, yeah, and it's also something they're able to give a straight-up reason that I think everybody can get behind as to why they're not doing it. Other things, the whole Batgirl thing, there's been all kinds of speculations to why that is, why Supergirl, why the Flat, why all these things are happening and moving. This one, I think everybody can be like, yeah, good move on you. Good idea. Yeah. Even the people that aren't happy about it, I think everybody can agree, yeah, just figure your
at
shit
least
out
offline. Online, they might still be like, you son of a bitch!
Oh, people online are going to be pissed either way. Regardless, you could just come out and say, we're going to give you every single thing you want. Yeah, but it's not what they, why are you giving them what they want?
Exactly.
Even though we want them, everybody's pissed online about something.
Yes.
All right, so.
by the way,
pissed off than pissed on.
King Gore sent a super chat, by the way. He says, you tell him. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I just saw that. I was actually going to call him out. Thank you, King Gore, for that $5 super chat. I really appreciate it. You tell him. We're going to tell him. We're going to tell all the motherfuckers. But, I don't know if you're talking about the Warner Brothers thing or the Halo thing,
Batman getting a Hummer in the back.
Tell them all. Yeah,
there you go.
We're telling them to get
Wait a
Batman
minute. So
Hummers.
is that like being in a very uncomfortable place is in the back of a Volkswagen? Is that like Batman is getting a Hummer in the back? Is he being?
Could be. Batman Year One.
Yeah.
VW Bug. VW Bug was the first Batmobile, but all right. So, anywho, now this next one I think that is going to touch a special place on Nick, and Triv, you may have something to say. I'll be interested to hear what you got to say about it. Ryan. I always call him Rain. Ryan Johnson.
Ryan.
We all know Ryan Johnson.
Ryan Johnson.
Well, I always get him confused with Rainn Wilson. But anyway, Ryan Johnson made Knives Out. He's currently working on Knives Out 2 Onions or something like that.
Glass Onions.
Glass Onions, yeah, or whatever. That movie. And he's made some other things. One movie he made was the extremely divisive The Last Jedi, Episode 8 of Star Wars. The one where he gave us something new, and everybody who had been saying give us something new got mad that they gave us something new. But we're not going to talk about that. They had a planned trilogy that he was going to make, a Star Wars trilogy that was going to spin off of that movie. It was going to be a spin-off trilogy that went from something, I don't know of what, maybe the Slave Kids or whatever, but whatever. It was a trilogy they've been talking about for a long time. The Last Jedi comes out. Like I said, it was very divisive. The very loud Star Wars minority, a lot of people didn't like it, so it caught a lot of shit, and that trilogy seemingly went away. Well, no, it didn't. apparently Ryan Johnson's Star Wars trilogy is still happening. He says that he just recently talked to Kathleen Kennedy, and they do talk quite a bit, and it is still on the board. It is still happening, but he is doing his Knives Out trilogy right now, and they're waiting for him to complete that, and then they will start to explore what direction they're going to go with his Star Wars trilogy. So those of you that loved The Last Jedi and that whole vibe it had going on, get ready. Yes, Nicholas liked it. We have you. According to Ryan Johnson, you're still getting it. It's coming. It's just not coming right away. It's coming at some time in the future. Do you guys think this is a good idea? I mean, do you believe? Well, I guess first, do you think it's a good idea, and do you think that this is actually going to happen ever?
Wait. Come to me first. Come to me first.
Oh, I did.
No. And I'll tell you why. If it weren't for the shit that Ryan Johnson got for Last Jedi, which I'll say on the chat, I'll say it right here, you guys can all hate me. I think it's the best Star Wars movie ever made.
Yes.
Shit, the best? I like that.
I will stand by
the best.
Yeah. But I'll stand by that for the rest of my life. Anyways, if it weren't for that movie getting a lot of shit, because he was literally supposed to do that Star Wars trilogy right after. If it weren't for that, he backed away. If it weren't for that, we would never got Knives Out. And Knives Out was fucking awesome. So
yeah, we wouldn't have. Wasn't he supposed to do? Was he supposed to do The Last Jedi? Not the last. Not the. He did do.
Well,
the Last Jedi.
they offered him
the next one.
Yeah, they offered it. Well, they offered to him. He said no because he just wanted to do one. So they offered to Trevor or whatever, and then he got a lot of flack. He talks about this on a podcast I listened to. He read the Twitter. Yeah, but he read the Twitters the night that his movie released, and he said, yeah, I'm probably going to step away for a little bit, do my own thing. And that's when Ryan Johnson is at his best, when he does his own thing. Because as much as I like Last Jedi, there is still problems with it. But when you see him do like Brick and, Looper and fucking Knives Out, that's when Ryan Johnson works his best. So I don't want him, as much as I would love him to see the trilogy of Star Wars movies, just do your own thing. The Word Man knows how to make fucking movies. So I can't see him. I don't want him to do another Star Wars movie, if that's my honest opinion. As much as
Nick
I love
has
Last
spoken. Jedi. All hail.
How about you, Triv?
Exactly.
What did you think of Last Jedi, and do you think that this trilogy is going to ever come about?
I really enjoyed Force Awakens for my own personal reasons. But yeah, Last Jedi was something unique. I love the fact that it went in a different direction. It felt like it was kind of not in quality wise, but just a total opposite of what Force Awakens was, and it needed to be. But the backlash it gets, I think, is over the top. But that could be said of, anything that comes out now is going to face backlash, and not the appropriate amount by any stretch. But because of what he did and the fact that he was willing to take it in a new direction, hell, even keeping things as simple as, spoilers, Rey just being a random chick and not having any affiliation with anything else in the like any of the big families, was the smartest thing that they could have done. And if we can, the thing that Star Wars needs to do, if you're looking at the health of Star Wars, is move away from all of the stories that have been told. It's a massive galaxy. Let the stories be told. So from the perspective of diversity in Star Wars, and I don't mean people, I just mean stories, it needs to go in that direction if it wants to survive.
I agree.
Because they're going to run out of people. Yeah, exactly. From the perspective of, I'm with Nick, like Knives Out, to this day, is still one of my favorite movies of, the 2010s. And it was so fun. So if there was a way to clone him and have him do, like, the Star Wars movies as well as, doing his own thing, then yeah. I think Star Wars needs diversity. Now, whether that's Ryan Johnson or someone else, they need people that can see outside the box. That's what it comes to.
Yeah, they need that, and they need a focused story.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say, but all right,
we need a thing called a roadmap.
Yeah. All right, so Ryan Johnson's trilogy. They say it's still happening. I don't know. Let us know in the chat if you think we're ever going to see his fabled trilogy, even though none of us know what the fuck it's about. But let us know if you think so. I did want to real quick say, King Gore, as I mentioned a moment ago, he did give us that $5 super chat. Thank you very much for that, sir. You guys out there in Movie Land, go check out King Gore's channel. He's got a really cool channel. He puts up a lot of horror content. The guy's pretty cool. He had an unfortunate thing happen to his channel a year or so ago that really sucks, but he came back from it and has built his channel up quite a bit, and he's looking really good at about almost 4,500 subscribers now.
Oh,
and
nice.
He's got a live stream going on today at 2:00 p.m. My time, whenever that is your time. So go over there and check out. Apparently, he's finally watched a scary movie. I'm going to call bullshit on that, King Gore, but that's the name of his stream. So check out King Gore's channel and also his stream today at 2:00. All right, so moving on to our last little news bit of the day. Meme stock. You guys remember that? Yeah.
I feel like it.
It came and went that quick. What was that, Nick?
Yeah, I pulled out of that meme stock before it caught on, so yeah, I know very well.
Are we talking like meme stock as in like Woodstock, or are we talking meme stock as like a crypto coin?
Meme stock was the whole thing that happened, I guess it was about a little over a year ago.
Yeah,
it happened with
GameStop and
AMC and GameStop.
Oh, that. Yeah. Okay. Stonks!
Yeah,
Hang on here.
The short squeeze they did of the stock and made the stock.
Stonks!
There you go. But the short squeeze they did, where a bunch of people from Reddit, I think it was, bought a lot of. They inflated the cost of GameStop's stocks to like an insane amount, and a lot of people who jumped in at the right time and then sold and just did everything just right, they made a shit ton of money. They essentially, the everyday man, came in and did what stockbrokers have been doing for years. It's kind of illegal is a word that's been thrown around, but it is a manipulation. But a lot of just everyday people like us made a or a select few made a shit ton of money off of this thing. And some people were saying, oh, that's not cool. And others were like, stockbrokers do it all the time. So anyway, it was a big deal. It came and went. It actually did end up saving GameStop because GameStop was on the verge of going out of business. Their stock has since dropped back down to a more normal rate. It is not down to when all that started. It was somewhere like $3, $4, or $5 a share. Now it's up around like the $27 to $30 a share. And at one point it went up to like something like $600 a share. But there was a book written about it, and the rights to said book, movie rights to the book, were picked up before the book was even done. And we had heard about that. We knew that there was a movie coming about it, but now we have a few more details on it. The Meme Stock movie has gotten a title and most of its cast. The title of the movie is going to be called Dumb Money, and that's the title of the book, I think, as well. And they have cast Paul Dano, Seth Rogen, Pete Davidson, and Sebastian Stan. We don't know who they're going to be playing. That's really all we know, the title, and those people are going to be in it. And I'm wondering, is this going to be like a Social Network-esque? Because the guy who wrote the book actually wrote the book that the Social Network was based on. So is it going to be a Social Network-esque book? Is it going to kind of be a satire? I don't know, but as this project goes on, I kind of am more and more. I was not interested in this at all when it first got announced, but I'm getting more and more interested in it, even though Seth Rogen's in it, and I kind of not a big Seth Rogen fan anymore. But what do you guys think about this?
I think that they're gonna make a movie out of anything, but this is fascinating. Like, I had a lot of friends that had Robinhood or stock through Robinhood, and they found out what a shit service it can or has the potential to be, and the fact that like hedge fund guys, and you talked about, kind of tiptoeing around illegal. It's only illegal if the right people are doing it. But yeah, it is. I mean, it's like all the all the president's men or anything like that. It's one of those weird things that comes along once every 10 years or something, and it's like, holy shit, how did this is real life. This isn't just like a movie thing. It's weird,
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I watched a documentary about 7 months ago called GameStop Rise of the Players. and I actually really enjoyed it because even though I knew a lot of the stuff was going on with it, I kind of enjoyed it. But the thing about it, we'll all agree. I mean, at least I think we'll all agree. The idea of doing a Facebook movie was the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my entire life, and then it turned out to be like one of the great movies of the whole decade. And how
Right?
good it was with
That's
with
what
David Fincher.
when I saw that movie, I was like, "Who the fuck wants to see this?" And I watched it. I was like, "Holy shit,
Yeah.
this movie's so good!"
Yeah.
But it's directed by Craig Gillespie, who's a pretty decent director. But I mean, okay, the cast so far: Sebastian Stan, Paul Dano, and Pete Davidson. I know you're not a big fan of Seth Rogen, but dude, Sebastian Stan, Paul Dano, awesome. Pete Davidson, okay, I go for it.
He's
Seth
a wild
Rogen,
card.
awesome. Yeah,
He oddly
I
enough
don't-
fits within this story for me.
yeah. I mean, Craig Gillespie did I, Tonya, so that's kind of movie this is going to be probably. But yeah, that whole GameStop thing was insane. Like I remember reading about it, not understanding anything about it, but I had, as Antonio said in the chat, I had the Shiba Inu stuff, the coin or whatever that before. I sold it before it got big, and the same thing with GameStop and AMC. I could have made more money than I want to admit, but yeah, I back to the movie. I actually want to see this movie. I think it could be fun.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We'll
I
go
mean,
over- I don't know where I'm going.
as things get announced about it, I become more and more interested in it as it goes, especially knowing it came from the guy who wrote the book that The Social Network was based on. Now, I mean, I know David Fincher had a big part in that. He's not involved in this, but
Yeah,
I'm interested. I want to see what they're working on. I'm more curious as to what the tone of the movie is going to be, because The Social Network was very serious. So I'm wondering what tone, because this seems like a movie that will kind of go like this. It'll probably have like some dramatic moments closer to the end, but like it's going to have a like kind of a aloof kind of,
Well-
oddball tone. I would think. I don't know though.
yeah.
It's gonna be Weird
well, I
Al
mean-
Yankovic.
Yes.
At the
Oh,
start.
by the way, that reminds me. Have you seen the trailer for Weird?
Yeah.
No, not yet. I haven't.
Oh man, it's so weird. No, what I was saying, you remember the Steve Jobs movie where Seth Rogen played
Which
Steve
one?
Wozniak? No, the one where it had Michael Fassbender or Steve Jobs, but
Isn't it just called Jobs?
probably I don't know. There's like several.
There's
Steve
two of them
Jobs
that came out at the
movies.
same time. One of them had Ashton
Oh.
Kutcher, and one of them had Michael
Yeah, no.
Fassbender. I can't
Oh,
remember.
okay.
I think Jobs was the Michael Fassbender one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Seth Rogen played Steve Wozniak, and it was actually a drama. And he was actually pretty good in it. So, I mean, hey, drama, Seth Rogen, cool.
I was gonna say Seth Rogen did pretty well with the the room behind the scenes thing with what
the
the
Disaster Artist. Yeah, that was
yeah,
actually-
Disaster
yeah,
Artist. I mean,
yeah,
not that he played a huge role in it, but as much as I'm kind of with you, he's one of those guys that I can do in small doses. But yeah, I mean, I think he can do it. He can do it as long as it's.
He's the
reined
male
in.
Melissa McCarthy. He started out really funny, but now he just plays Seth Rogen.
Yeah,
I mean, it is what it
Better
is.
than
And the
playing
guy says
Josh
some
Gad.
dumbass shit out in the real world too, but whatever.
yeah.
I try not to put those two together.
Best plan.
All right. Well, that's it, guys, on our news bits. That's the small stories of the week that I wanted to talk about, and just kind of, not big enough for their own stories, but I did want to just put a few of those out there in the world. What do you guys think? Did we miss anything this week that you wish we had talked about? What do you think about Mr. Show? Going back to the gun show. Heartbreak. Feeling good in a place like this again. Halo Infinite, not being able to play with your friends on a couch. Warner Brothers canceling yet again something else, but this time a good thing. Ryan Johnson's trilogy, and of course, meme stock. Let us know in the comments below what you guys thought. All right, let's move in to our first story of the day. Now, I had more stories lined up, and I have them here, but we're running a little bit short on time because we do have a review that we're going to do at the end. So I'm going to cut some of these out. I will make honorable mention. Let's go with an honorable mention. There's not much to this story. I just wanted to real quick say. And also, this one is not 100% confirmed. It's being said it is, and it's not. And that's that Dan Lin, just real quick, he has been, you can't see him, he's this guy. I reported in a little news bit a few weeks ago that they were talking about him becoming the next Kevin Feige for the DCEU. It's being reported now that it's confirmed that he is the new head of the DCEU, but then I see other reports saying that he may not be. I was just going to talk about some of the movie he has been involved in over the years. He was involved with the Sherlock Holmes films, 1 and 2, Gangster Squad, Lego Movie Batman, It Chapter 2, The Two Popes, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and Godzilla vs. Kong, and more. And we're just going to kind of talk about what he's done. Not really, I kind of want to move forward, but yeah, Dan Lin, I want to wait until we get a little bit more confirmation 100% that he is the guy now, but he could be the new Kevin Feige of the DCEU, FYI. Also, I was going to talk about some comments that Yahya Abdul-Mateen Part 2 made about working in comic book movies. He has gone on record saying that it's clown work. But that what I didn't like about this was that they're kind of putting that as the byline, and it's kind of like that Scorsese-esque, it's very Scorsese-esque in that way that Scorsese was saying that Marvel movies aren't cinema and yada yada yada. They're positioning it that way, but if you actually read the story, that's not what he's saying. He's just saying that, hey, what he has to say is good. He's saying don't take yourself too seriously as an actor. Sometimes you're going to make Trial of the Chicago 7, and then sometimes you're going to make Aquaman. And you just need to know what movie you're making, and you need to get over yourself as an actor. I thought those were actually, what he was saying was a good thing, but they're positioning it, the media is positioning it as like this hot take kind of thing. And I didn't like that, because a lot of people don't read the stories, they read the bylines, and then they go off of that. I thought that was kind of shitty of the media, actually, but
nothing new.
Yeah, and I just needed to cut something, so we're cutting that out. But you know what? Read the story. Look into the whole Black Manta, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, and what he said about that. Don't just go off the byline. So I'm going to jump into this our official first story of the day, which is a bit of a video game thing. I don't want to talk about this too much because we have talked about it a bit. I just kind of wanted to put a little bit of information out and get you guys' idea. This is a video game related story, but it is not necessarily about any particular video game. We're going to talk about Xbox Activision Blizzard acquisition and some woes that they're having. Now, the quick breakdown, let me give you a little bit of information real quick. The CMA, which is kind of like the FDA, is it the FDA? No, the FCC, I'm sorry, of Europe, or in Britain, or Europe as a whole, not just Britain. Britain's not the only thing in Europe, but they are kind of the FCC over there, the Federal Trade Commission. Not Federal Trade Commission. What is
Federal Communications Commission.
Yeah, Federal Communications Commission. They have said that they have, as we know, that Microsoft has this almost $70 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard King, and it's got to go through all these trade commissions or communication commissions and all this and that. Or FTC, I'm sorry, FTC. That's who it is, not FCC. It's like lots of acronyms. This is their version, and it has to pass all these major ones, and the major ones are the FTC and the CMA. That is Europe and America. It's passed a few in like somewhere in the Middle East. It passed one. They said, yeah, no problem. But the CMA said it is concerned. It does have a concern. And they said that if Microsoft buys Activision Blizzard, it could harm rivals, including recent and future entrants into gaming, by refusing them access to Activision Blizzard games or providing access on much worse terms. The CMA said it has seen evidence that if Microsoft and Activision Blizzard combine, it could create a system to damage competition in the nascent market for cloud gaming services. The CMA pointed out that Microsoft already has a popular console, Xbox, a major cloud platform, Azure, and the leading PC operating system, OS, Windows. The CMA said it would consider conducting a Phase 2 investigation. They're in Phase 1 right now. In light of this, Microsoft and Activision Blizzard have 5 working days to respond to CMA's concerns, or else the CMA will launch its Phase 2 investigation. All right, so Phase 1 is pretty much this. They're just saying, hey, yes. They're not saying that it is these things. They're saying we see that it could potentially be this. Yes, we see that this is something worth looking at. Phase 2 is when they go deeper into it, and that could hold things up. Now, people are taking this and running with it, and they're like, oh shit, it's not happening. I don't think that's the case, because also, even if they do, because they have 5 days to respond, they've probably already responded by the time I'm reporting this, they can respond to it, and then the CMA can be like, okay, we accept your response. Moving forward. The things that they put out here are not saying that these are fact, that this is what it is. They're saying this is what's on the table, we're looking at it, and we have to decide if this evidence does show that it could damage the market, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and we need to postpone this. Now, what people don't understand is the CMA, FTC, all these governing bodies do not have the right to just say, no, you can't do it. They can say, we protest. And then it goes to court. Microsoft and Activision and all them can go to court too and say, well, we protested what you're saying, and then they battle it out and see who wins. Typically, that does not happen. It is rare that that happens. It could happen, but I feel like a big, huge company like Microsoft and Activision and all them, they know what the fuck they're doing. They knew that this was a possibility, and they have also responded on Twitter, but I don't really put a lot of, pinch of salt there. I don't think this is a thing. I think this is kind of a non-story. Who knows? It could, next week we might hear, yep, they're going into phase 2, and even if they go into phase 2, that does not mean they're going to find anything. That just means that they are conducting an investigation, because that's their fucking job. And people are running with this and just saying, this is it. See, it's not happening. Ha, ha, ha. I don't think that's the case. Given the information I gave you, and there's a lot more, I didn't want to put a whole lot more into it, because this thing has been so up and down, because it is the biggest entertainment buyout ever in history. All video games aside, all biases aside, what do you guys think? Do you think that this thing's going to happen? Do you think that they are going to enter phase 2? Do you think that this could be damaging? Blah, blah, blah. What do you think?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. There we go. Nick says yes.
No, what it is because there's so much money on the table, they're going to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, make sure there's nothing on that, everything's on the level. And the only problem I have out of this is just a monopoly situation. Like, we're getting to that point, a possible monopoly, and I think that's what they're worried about. I think that, and the whole, just like how big Microsoft is and what they represent, and Activision needs to be bought by somebody. I don't know whether it be Microsoft or Apple or somebody who can put their shit together and get rid of their fucking Bobby Kotick, whatever the fuck his name is, and just be done with it. Because as we know, everything that had happened at Activision has been bad. So yeah, I hope it gets done.
When's that movie coming, by the way?
God, that is a no, but yeah. Dude,
tell us how you really feel.
Oh, Triv, have you heard the stories about what happened with Activision?
Oh yeah. Even in my
yeah.
non video game brain, it's hard to miss. I follow enough like gaming type folks that it's hard to miss. Like there's some really shifty crap going on there. So
yeah, I don't know if I'd want to see a movie. It's how bad it is.
Oof.
Well, we're probably going to get one, I'm sure, at some point in time. But I mean, there's not, unless you guys got something else to say about this. I don't think, I really just wanted to kind of put this out there and I mean, who am I? I'm just some guy on YouTube in literally a basement talking about this shit. But this is not unexpected, and it's not the end. It's not like, oh, see, it's happening, it's the end. No, it's not. It's this governing body doing their fucking job.
Right.
They're just doing it. Now, I mean, Nick, you mentioned Monopoly. That's been thrown around a lot. If you look at, even with Microsoft owning Activision Blizzard, if you put that on a pie chart with everybody else, they're still nowhere near the biggest one. The biggest owner and biggest gaming in that gaming space company is something like
after,
Tencent or something like that.
No, not after Embracer. Embracer bought fucking everything. Including Lord of the Rings.
They're up there too. There are a number of other companies that own so much. I think one of the reasons that Microsoft gets such press on this is because Microsoft itself is just so big, well known, and honestly, a lot of this shit comes from that whole "my box is better than yours," the whole Sony versus Microsoft, PlayStation, Xbox, blah blah blah. What people need to understand is these company heads, these the Sony people and the Xbox people, they don't give a fuck. They give a fuck about money. They don't give a shit. I mean, yeah, they want their product to do better, but they're not in these console wars like all these fanboys are. They don't give a shit about that. They probably sit there and have fucking lunch together and laugh about this shit. They're laughing at you if you're going to these console wars. They're like, you're doing our job for us. I mean, they don't care about that. Sony uses Microsoft's, I mean, they mentioned it in this thing, Azure, whatever it is. That's their cloud service. That's their cloud gaming, but it's not just gaming. Gaming is the smaller part of it. Their cloud service for OneDrive, for all these other things, Azure runs a lot of other cloud services throughout the world. Google uses Azure to a degree, not totally. Sony, all of their cloud stuff, if you stream a game or if you do a movie or if you do any of that, not just on PlayStation, but just through Sony, they use Azure. They are one of Microsoft's customers. People don't tend to get that. They are a Microsoft customer. Their biggest video game competitor, not their biggest competitor, their biggest video game competitor is one of their customers. They use their service. So I mean, yeah, these companies do not want to see the others fail. They want to win, but they aren't like these fucking fanboys and shit. And a lot of this stuff, why we get so much press, is because, you know, Microsoft is just one of the bigger companies out there, so it's cool to kind of like shit on them. And this is an easy story to understand. This whole, they're buying this big thing, they're going to be big bad. When there's so many bigger, or not bigger buyouts necessarily, but bigger companies out there buying shit, smaller things, and building up that are bigger than them by a long shot. So no, I don't think this is going to be a big deal. I think that this buyout is going to go through, and this is just a bunch of fucking drama and shit that people are drumming up. I mean, in a year, it's going to be done. Less than a year. But a year from now, Activision and Blizzard will be owned by Xbox or by Microsoft. That is what it is. In a year, I might be eating my words, but whatever. Alrighty.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we will find out soon. Moving on to the next thing. This is what I'm really interested to see you guys' take on this. Demolition Man.
Oh.
I love Demolition Man. What do you guys think about Demolition Man?
Oh, so good. So good.
Fucking awesome.
Right.
Three shells,
yeah.
The 3 seashells, yeah. I saw Demolition Man when it first came out. I was all about going to some Taco Bell when it first came out. Taco Bell totally restructured their whole... Like, if you went to Taco Bell, they changed their whole look at all the Taco Bells for Demolition Man. For a long time, their whole, like, the way they looked was based on Demolition Man to a degree.
Nice.
So, I love me some Demolition Man. It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But we're going to talk a little Demolition Man, but not just that. This is a branch off of it, a result of it. On August 27th, a woman named Bay Bellingham entered the New South Wales-based antique store, that's in Australia, by the way, the Katoomba Vintage Emporium. Nick, Emporiums. With her husband. She had gone downstairs to check out the rest of the store's inventory when she found a twisted dummy propped up on a dolly in the middle of the floor. Bellingham had posted the photos on her Instagram stories, which were quickly screenshotted by people on the internet and posted on social platforms like Twitter and Reddit. Okay, what was this dummy? What did she find? Who knows? In a thrift shop in the middle of fucking Australia. Well, a local user known only as Urban Banger had heard of this dummy and went to investigate it for themselves. According to a comment they posted, the dummy cost around 6,000 AUD, or in USD for those of you over here, is around $4.1 thousand. So what do you guys think that Miss Bellingham and Urban Banger came across? What kind of banger did they come across in this little hole-in-the-wall shop in Australia?
I'm going to guess it's Stallone, like when he gets frozen. My guess is that it's that.
Nick?
Did he go, oh.
Okay. I'm going to show you what it was. She found this.
Oh, yes.
Now it gets better.
Oh
This
my
is not
God.
the specific one. All right, this picture you're seeing here, ladies and gentlemen, this is at Planet Hollywood. For those of you that don't know, weren't around, or don't remember, Planet Hollywood was a Hard Rock Cafe-esque restaurant that Sylvester Stallone, Bruce Willis, and Arnold Schwarzenegger went in on, and they blew up in the 90s, the mid-90s. They were all over the place. It was like kind of like the Hard Rock Cafe, but instead of rock and music, it was more about movies. They had lots of movie props and stuff like that. Now, within most, if not all of them, they had this prop from Demolition Man. This is the part in the beginning of the movie when Sylvester Stallone is frozen, and that's how he ends up in the future. He's frozen. That's how they do prisons. And this was the prop they used in the movie. Actually, I believe the credit sequence actually takes place going around this frozen version of Stallone. Okay, this is hanging up in them. Now, a lot of those closed down. They don't do well. There's only like 5 or 6 left in the world. There was one in Australia, and it closed down.
Yeah, the one at Disney World's closing down too.
Really?
Oh, I've been to a Planet Hollywood. I don't remember where it was, but I have been to one time, and it was a pretty cool experience. It's like I said, it was very Hard Rock Cafe, but movie inspired. But yeah, so they had this thing hanging up there. It was there were multiple versions of this prop, and it had lots of actual props within these Planet Hollywoods. Well, the one in Australia, I don't have it in front of me which one exactly it was, closed down X amount of years ago, and apparently this prop ended up at this little boutique or vintage emporium in Australia. Now that was the one. This one here that you're seeing, this is at Planet Hollywood. Let me show you what it looked like when she found it.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. I think he needs a couple seashells.
It gets better.
Oh, shit.
We have more angles.
How much was up his ass?
Oh, God.
Oh!
If you walk... All right, so...
Oh my God.
So I don't know. I go to thrift shops a decent amount, not all the time, but I do enjoy like going to thrift shops and finding little curiosities like this, but not like just like that, but like weird shit. And she said she went downstairs. Now I've been to quite a few antique shops. They have their own feel. They're usually, you know, they can get creepy sometimes. A lot of the downstairs of these thrift shops, when they have multi-levels, you go down there and it is kind of real eerily quiet. There's not a lot of people in there. It's darker and just kind of, you run up on something and it's like, oh, you know, you're very by yourself. It's almost like a horror movie in some respects. Could you imagine walking through there and just turning the corner and that's there?
You know what it reminds me of? When they're pulling Austin Powers out of like the deep freeze in the first Austin Powers movie.
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly what it's like. Well, I mean, you turn the corner and like that's there, but it gets better.
Oh shit.
We have one more angle. The fuck? If I ran up on this in a shop, you turn the corner and run into that. Jesus, like the caption there, what in the actual fuck? That is exactly, that is, I couldn't have put it better myself. But yeah, this is a thing. Sly Stallone's sex doll has been found because apparently there's a few of these out there in the wild somewhere. Somebody's made one of these into a fucking sex doll.
Of course. Not
It's
that it would
happened.
take much. Just oh my God.
I mean, a fucking drill with a big enough bit, and you got yourself one.
Oh man.
Okay, so what's you guys' immediate reaction to this? Are you ready to plop down $1,100 to get yourself a Sly sex doll? We can't hear you, Nick.
Oh my God. Sorry. I was saying come to me and all I was doing was like, yes.
I would
Can you
hang
imagine
this
having
up
that in your
my
house
room.
as can you imagine being such a Demolition Man fan and just having that in your house? People just like,
I could, because I would do it.
Nice. You could do the Nick Cage thing. The movie he just did, The Immeasurable Weight of
bearable weight of massive talent.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the dude that Pedro Pascal plays, and just going in, like he gets Sylvester Stallone and brings him in there, and that's like hanging up at the back, and he looks at it and goes, "Oh, that's kind of tasteful."
I would so fucking have this hanging from the ceiling in my room right here. It'd be right there. I would just have it hanging from the ceiling at all times. Sloan.
Why isn't that in Samaritan? That should be hanging in the background.
That would be hilarious.
Just that. I would leave it on the dolly too. I would just leave it on the fucking dolly. And anytime my kids did something bad, I'd be like, "Look at it!
This is what you do to me!
Look at it in its eyes! You disappointed Stallone. John Spartan is not pleased.
What if somebody
Look at me!
What if somebody's really into these frozen like cats or whatever, and they find the one from Austin Powers?
Yeah,
Oh,
I want
God.
that one too. I just want a bunch of like famous people's wax dummies in weird positions on dollies in my room. I wanna. That's what I want in my life. I need this.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's not much more else to it, people. That's there it is. I mean, one more time for you. I mean, you got, this is what it is. And that one doesn't look, I mean, it's kind of weird looking. And in the movie, it looked a bit better, camera angles and special effects. But, you know, then we go to, Jesus, coming around the corner and seeing that, I would be like, oh my God, there's a naked man in there. And he's doing some BDSM shit. Yeah, that's, whew. I mean, look at me! Pray to me!
He looks like he's been on a bender the whole night.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, everybody, if you're a Demolition fan, get out there to your local thrift shops. You might be able to find yourself a Sly Stallone frozen possible sex doll project.
You know what? Some people find a Picasso, some people find a Picasso, and some people find Sly.
Sly on a dolly. Sly dolly, yeah. This is what I need this in my life. But yeah, that's a real
Fly
thing. I couldn't
on the
have made that
fly.
up. Those pictures are real. So get on it, people. Get out there thrift shopping and find yourself your own Sly. And if you find one and you're looking to sell, hit me up because I'm looking to buy. Okay.
Oh my God.
I got two more stories, and then we're jumping into our review, and I know Nick's got to get out of here. These next two I think people are going to find interesting. Before we do that, though, I did want to give you guys a quick preview of the review that I will have dropping today. I'd planned on it being here on the show, but it's just a little bit longer because it's talking about the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power. I watched it. I did a review. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I want to throw this little 40 second preview of something I put there on the end for you guys to see. Where the hell did I put it?
Does it involve a naked Stallone? Because if it doesn't involve a naked Stallone, I'm not sure that we can watch it.
Unfortunately, it does not. But if I had thought about it, I would have included that just for you.
Aww.
But yeah, here's my little 30-second spot. The review should be at probably 3 or 4 o'clock my time, Central Time. So this afternoon. Be on the lookout for it if you're interested in the show, and I'll give my thoughts. And I know, Nick, you've seen a bit of the show. You haven't watched the whole thing, but you have seen some of it, right?
Yeah, a little bit. About
All right,
15
so
minutes.
We'll maybe just talk about it briefly after this. But here's my trivia. I think it's attached to yours.
Do you need me to turn off?
No,
or?
no.
Okay.
Don't do anything. Nope, it's on Nick's. I usually have here it is. Here you go, people. And
Nick is the Ring of Power.
Here we go. What do I put at the end of the video? I see nothing. It's a strange fate that I'm flipping off the fucking camera. Tell me, Ring of Power, what should I put at the end of the video? Let me carry it for you, Mr. Frodo! If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit... Shit. So yeah, that was just a quick little something that puts you guys in the mindset of me when I record. When I'm down here all by myself.
I'm just gonna say it. You going or like the Stallone story, and then those images of you and your Ring of Power. I mean, I don't think you could have followed it up better.
It could have been a cock Ring of Power.
It could have.
And then with
Who's to say
the
it's
naked
not?
Stallone.
You know.
I hope not. I mean, that was a really small ring, so if it's, I'm going to go out there and just say,
ring.
not indicative, but yeah.
Objects in me are smaller than they appear.
Uh,
Larger? No. Anyway.
My
Oops.
Pegasus.
I need to turn that off. Ah! There we go. Okay, so let's jump into our last two stories of the afternoon, and then I know Nick's got to get out of here, and we'll jump into our review of this extra special movie of the week that I think you guys will enjoy. Now, these next two stories I think people are going to like. Let's talk about Hellraiser.
Ooh.
Which you can't
Sexy.
see it because there's something right behind me. This was not supposed to be the setup, but anyway, we're gonna talk about Hellraiser, the new Hellraiser. We got a Hellraiser first look. Actually, Entertainment Weekly got a Hellraiser first look, and now we're looking at their first look. So whatever, I don't care.
Is this secondhand first look?
Hulu, yeah, secondhand first look. Hulu forgot to call me and include me on the email. Unfortunately, this week, I'll forgive you this time, Hulu, but. All right, so I got some pictures and some stuff that the director had to say. Director David Bruckner, who is the director of the new Hulu Hellraiser film, said, "This is not a remake. I just didn't think you could ever remake the original Hellraiser. It's too much its own thing." And it would be, I think, perilous territory for filmmakers, because how do you top that? This is a new story in the Hellraiser universe. Now, I do want to comment on that. This is apparently at least somewhat based on I think it's called the Hellbound Heart. I think that's the book that Hellraiser was based off of, that Clive Barker based his film off of back in the day, which was also his book. He wrote the book. I think it's Hellbound Heart, but they're based on the same book. So yeah, it is kind of... They are going to be similar in that way. Now, I don't know how much, if this is a direct translation of that book or if it's just taking some inspiration. Have no idea, but it's a new film in the Hellraiser universe, as he says. He went on to say, "We felt a kind of anticipation around the fans to reimagine the character. We knew we wanted Pinhead to be a woman. Jamie Clayton was just the right person for the role. A person's identity can be really exciting for a role in many ways, but I have to emphasize that Jamie absolutely killed. That's how we got there." Now, what he's talking about is Jamie Clayton, who I know she's been in some other stuff, is the new Pinhead, is a quote-unquote female Pinhead. Now, my understanding is, I've not read the Hellbound Heart, but apparently in the original source material, Pinhead is neither male or female. He has been played by a man all these years, but for lack of a better term, he has been just kind of not had a gender. He's a demon or whatever he is, Cenobite. And they were going for that in this. And Jamie Clayton apparently is a transsexual person. I am not trying to be disrespectful. I do not know if Jamie Clayton was a man, was a woman, is now a man, is now a woman. I'm going to go with, say, her, because I'm not 100% sure. But either way, I've heard good things. I have heard that the fact they were playing up that Jamie Clayton is a trans person and in this role, but my understanding is the movie doesn't really play into like that specific fact. But it is good that this person is a trans person playing this character that is more or less neither or. So, cool. I don't think the movie... I think I'm trying to say I don't think the movie's trying to be a message movie in that respect.
Right.
So, he also went on to say that the Mask, which is a new character we're going to look at in a moment, is one of my favorite Cenobites. And it's just a tease of really what's to come as far as Cenobites are concerned. When asked about are there going to be more Cenobites besides, of course, the ones we know and love and this new Mask character, he says, "I think that's safe to say yes." He also said of Clive Barker, who this is, we had a bit of confusion a few weeks ago when we were talking about the announcement of the release date of this film. There are two Hellraiser projects being made right now, and I was thinking this was not the one that Clive Barker was involved in. Apparently this is the one that Clive Barker is involved in. And Bruckner said that Clive came on before the shoot when we were in prep and was really just a wonderful resource for me. He was really generous with his time and very welcoming of the idea that this was a new group of artists and that they were going to run with this and land in a different place, in different places with it. He was very supportive of that. Hellraiser premieres on Hulu on October 7th. Now, before we jump into these pictures I have of the new Hellraiser, what do you guys think of where do you guys land with Hellraiser as a whole and with this remake, reboot, redo, whatever it is?
Okay, so Hellraiser, I think fantastic. I love Hellraiser. I love Clive Barker in general. I love like a lot of his films, especially Lord of Illusion and Midnight Meat Train. The whole idea of here's how I look at Hellraiser. Hellraiser is about fucking S&M flesh characters with needles and fucking all kinds of grotesque shit. The thing that people are going to get all up in their panties and twist, oh, why isn't this a man, blah, blah, blah. Like you said, Cenobites are fucking neither. They're fucking, characters of flesh. They fucking don't give it. It's like, as long as they deliver a good movie, I don't care if Jamie Clayton is playing New Pinhead or not. Cool. Cool. I just want a good movie. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, as long as Clive Barker is involved with it, which makes it even better. But I don't give a shit who's playing Pinhead. Doug Bradley's just he's kind of like I think he's like 60 or 70 years now. So it's kind of nice to see him kind of move on from the character. But yeah,
he'd already moved on from the role, hadn't he? Wasn't there somebody else who played it in the last one?
There was. But for the most part, like I'm just saying, people are going to be all up in arms about this new Pinhead because it's a trans woman, blah blah blah. I'm like, just deliver a good movie. That's all I want.
Exactly.
As long as it's that's all I care about. I'm sure Triv feels the same, but I'm not putting words in her mouth. So Triv, what do you think?
Yeah, let's put something in Triv's mouth.
Oh God. I mean,
sorry, I couldn't help myself.
That's okay. I'm actually pretty late to the Hellraiser franchise. Like I remember watching the first one as a kid. But it's one of those things where I didn't really pursue until I got a little bit older. So I know a lot of the people like any fandom, they get attached to the way things were. And I can't say that I have that for this. I think the new Pinhead looks really interesting. And it's not like there aren't and I know that Pinhead holds a specific place because it's Pinhead, but it's not like we haven't had other Cenobites, that they haven't been male, female, everything else. I think it looks interesting. The thing is, whoever plays Pinhead, they're gonna have being able to separate the actor from the character. If it's a good performance, bring it on. If the makeup is good, bring it on. And honestly, considering the past couple Hellraiser movies, they can only go up from there. That's all I'm gonna say.
Antonio was like, I love the Hellraiser movies. I'm like, yeah, the first three were pretty good. Then the rest were like, it's like getting into Leprechaun territory. It's like,
you know what? It's worse than that. It's Amityville. It's Amityville horror levels of insanity. I think there's like 33 of those or 32 of those.
There's a fucking Amityville shark movie.
There's also Amityville Vibrator, and they just came out with Amityville in Space.
I need to watch that.
Dude, we need. Oh man, I need to watch these movies. Oh my god.
Well,
Amityville Vibrator.
I'm with you guys on the Hellraiser stuff. I don't know about the Vibrator stuff, but probably that too. But I'm with you guys.
Hitachi Power One.
Yeah, with the performance. It's all about if she does. Or if she puts in a good performance, who cares? I mean, Doug Bradley, like you said, he already pieced out on the part anyway. I do feel like Pinhead is an iconic horror villain, if you will. So, yeah, anytime you change, look what happened when Jackie Earl Haley took over for Freddy, and I guess there's been others. Jason and Michael Myers are masked characters. We got a little bit of the Kane Hodder, fans coming out when he didn't play Jason, and I get that, but it's a little bit harder to tell with them because they're wearing masks like Michael Myers and Jason. But when you have these characters that have a very noticeable look to the actor, Robert Englund and this character of Pinhead, I get why people are kind of like, it's changing, but maybe this movie she'll blow us away, and it'll be like, yes, Perfect. You did it just right. So I'm reserving judgment. I will say that on the prosthetic side of things, like the look of the character, they got it. Let's take a look at some pictures. This one right here behind me, I'm going to remove myself real quick so we can see it. Actually, I got to remove.
Finally, he's removing himself, Triv.
Yeah.
Yay!
I
So
gotta,
it's
You know,
all
Jake,
us now.
the one thing I will say about, and I know this is a moot point, but I'm just bringing it up because I'm gonna bring it up. At least the character isn't CGI Doug Bradley the way they did with like Princess Leia and Grand Moff Tarkin and some of those guys.
Yep, you got that. There you go. At least it's not CGI. So I think we can all agree that that's a better move. But here's what Jamie Clayton looks like as the character. Let me move this. Bam. I think it looks good. I mean, it looks like it's practical work. I'm down with it. I mean, it looks like Pinhead. I mean, you see that, you definitely know. Yep, that's Pinhead. So I'm cool with this. I don't mind that Doug Bradley's not there. Now, granted, I don't have an affinity for Hellraiser like some people do. I like the second Hellraiser movie. And the first one I like, but there are moments in it that I'm just like, this movie makes me feel dirty. It doesn't scare me so much, but it's very Texas Chainsaw Massacre in that way, and I've talked about that before. I respect the movie, but it's just kind of like, I feel kind of gross. I think that's the point of the movie, especially the first one. You're supposed to feel kind of gross. I don't know. I don't hate it. I just kind of like, yeah,
The
it's
mattress
Hellraiser.
alone, you know.
Yeah, the
Oof.
mattress.
Oof,
I respect it. But I do enjoy the second one. I grew up with the second one, and I watched it quite a bit. And all the ones after that, I saw some of them. Like, I think they went to space and everything. They kind of lost me after the second one. There was one that took place in New York, I think. I think that was the third one. I don't remember. They really went
third
down
one
after
was.
that, because I think Clive Barker was not involved anymore after that. If I could be wrong, but I don't think so. But yeah, this new one. Let's look at some of the other. We had a few other pictures. We have, let's see, we got this one here. I'm not sure who this character is, but I'm assuming this is our main heroine of the film. And then we also have, let's see, this is the Mask. You can't really see it very well. Hellraiser's always been kind of dark. This is the new Cenobite, the Mask. If you look, you squint your eyes real good, you can see, let me zoom it in a bit. Nope, not like that. Let's see, can we...
I mean, it certainly looks interesting. It's kind of an albino
And there we go.
Cenobite.
We see it's like a person's face grafted on there, it looks kind of. So...
Yeah, it looks like a robot.
Yeah,
little bit.
it's and I mean it looks very Cenobite. I see it and I'm like, yeah, that would be, if I ran into that on a dark alley, I would be scared. And then we have this picture of a guy, and I think that's the puzzle box. It looks like what he's got there,
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
which it looks very. Let's zoom in on it just a little bit.
It looks like it did in
It's
Hellraiser
stretched.
2.
Yeah, and I know that the puzzle box does transform, so maybe it isn't. That's less of a box, more of a diamond-looking thing. Maybe that's mid-transformation. I don't know. But there's our Pandora's box or puzzle box that is iconic with the Hellraiser franchise as well. So I mean, it all looks good. I mean, the look of the film. We haven't had an official. We have a teaser that doesn't really show much, but just from the set photos and stuff like that, it all looks good. It doesn't look cheap. I'll give it that. So I'm interested to see this. I'm not. I think I probably will be less offended by some of the changes than some other people, like hardcore Hellraiser fans. But I am interested to see this, and it sounds like they're moving in the right direction. It sounds like Bruckner has a love of the property, and I think that's what you need. And Clive Barker signed off on it, so hey, right on. It sounds like they are changing some things, but they're still keeping to enough of the things that the fans will love. But what do you guys, are you looking forward to this? Based on those pictures and what we said here today, do you think that this is a good move for them, or do you think this is going to be an absolute disaster? And how do you think that the fans, the horror community that are big into Hellraiser, how do you think they're going to take it? I'm going to go Triv first.
You know, I'm a bad person to ask because there's a lot of this stuff, like, I love it, but it's not like I didn't have that affinity of, oh, it's been with me since I was, 10 years old. I think that if it's done right, a good chunk of the horror community will look at it and go, you know what? Because there's been so many bad remakes. You kind of go in with a certain level of not cynicism, like a kind of a holding back until you see the first thing of it. There are those people that are never going to be satisfied because it's not Doug Bradley, because it's not the same movie that came out in the 80s, I guess. But I think it looks good. I'm not probably going to, jump at the first sign of it to go watch it, but I will see it and I'll be excited to see it. So that's kind of where I stand with it.
Well, it is coming to Hulu, so you won't have to go far to watch it.
No, I know. I don't right now, so I have to, put in all the credit card stuff.
Maybe you can watch it with us.
Yay! That would be awesome. You
Nick?
guys rock.
Oh,
That's what Nick thinks of it.
yeah, no. Okay, so I am intrigued. I gotta watch the trailer first. That's how I look at it before I make an honest decision of this movie. But if it looks as much fun as like something like Prey, where they took a property and made it like really fun and cool and interesting and unique, I'm on board with that. I'll also say, like I said with Prey, if this movie is good, it should have been in the theaters. I don't know what Disney's doing because this is Disney. Disney owns Hulu, so it's a Disney thing.
Yeah,
which is
true.
crazy to think about. Yeah, so if this is how I look at it. Clive Barker has been screwed a lot in his life when it comes to his films, especially Midnight Meat Train, and he's working on this, and it's going straight to Hulu. Now, this movie sucks. Cool, it went straight to Hulu. We don't have to worry about it. But if it's good and it didn't come to theaters, well, it's disappointing. But I gotta wait to see the trailer before I make my decision on if this movie looks good.
Well, I wanted to say, you guys both, and we'll get to what you were going to say, but you guys both mentioned, or I know, Nick, you specifically did mention some of Clive Barker's previous work. But there was one thing, my favorite Clive Barker thing, that was not mentioned by anybody, and that's Nightbreed. I fucking love Nightbreed.
I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Nightbreed is awesome.
Oh, I actually completely forgot that was a Clive Barker movie.
Yes. That movie is, I've loved that movie since it came out, and there's like 15 different cuts of it, and there's the Cabal cut and all that, and I think they finally, like, the ultimate cut is being worked on or something. I love that fucking movie. So give me something like Nightbreed and I'm down, because I fucking love Nightbreed. Nightbreed was awesome.
We can't forget Candyman.
Oh,
did he did he direct Candyman?
I know he wrote it. He did not direct it.
Yeah, he didn't direct
Lord of Illusion.
He had a part to play in it, so yeah, or he wrote it or whatever. But yeah, so Clive Barker, really, iconic guy. This is he's not making this, but he has put his stamp of approval on it. So hopefully, it does not disappoint. Let us know. Are you looking forward to Hellraiser? What do you think of these pictures? Do you think this is going to be a disaster, or are you just really hyped for October 7th? Because it's right around the corner. We're going to see this in actually a little over a month from this recording. Okay.
It has been a very good year for horror in that respect. And the one thing I was going to add was, being that Disney owns Pinhead, does that make Pinhead a Disney princess?
Hell yeah, it does.
Now
one more quick thing. Yeah, now it does. The director of this movie directed he directed a portion of the original VHS. He also directed The Night House, which I wasn't a fan of, but a lot of people were. But he directed a movie that's very underrated called The Ritual, which you haven't seen. Is very fucked up.
Nice.
So I'm a little more excited for this now. So
is The Ritual the one that it's in Europe, in the UK, and like it starts out with the lady getting killed, or the guy getting killed in the convenience store? Is that The Ritual?
I can't remember offhand, but it is in Europe. But it has I think it has like the really crazy looking creature in there.
It's got the friends that go like on a camping trip a year after their friend was killed. Yeah, I've seen that. Was pretty cool. So yeah, there you go, people. Good director. He's made some good stuff. I haven't actually seen The Night House, but I know, like Nick said, I know he didn't like it, but a lot of people did. So hey, at least he's a competent horror director is in the director's chair. So things are looking good for Hellraiser. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Alrighty. Speaking of horror, let's talk about one of the granddaddies of horror. The granddaddies of modern horror, I suppose. But we hadn't seen him for a while, and that would be Jason Voorhees. Jason Voorhees has been caught up. Friday the 13th has been caught up in, as some know, a legal battle for years. It's one of the reasons the very popular Friday the 13th game that came out a few years ago got kind of like cut off at the knees, because they couldn't add anything else to it, and it was a multiplayer game. And because of this legal battle, nothing could be done with Friday the 13th. Legal battle was Sean Cunningham and the screenwriter, the original director Sean Cunningham, and the screenwriter Victor Miller had it tied up for years. I don't mean that in a negative way, because the rights were supposed to go back to them, but it was, I think, New Line had it or something like that, and it's like they were fighting about who owned Friday the 13th and Jason Voorhees, because apparently that's two separate things. Well, that's all taken care of now. New Line's Instagram account is suggesting that Jason Voorhees has learned how to use a cell phone and or computer and is trying to send the studio a message.
Oh no!
I don't have a picture of it here, but it's just somebody's notifications that says Jason Voorhees is trying to send you a message or something like that. And they tweeted that or put it out on Instagram. As I said, a messy lawsuit between original director Sean Cunningham and screenwriter Victor Miller tied up the rights for years. Last year, it seems the lawsuit has been settled. They settled it out of court. Nobody knows how, who, what, where, when, how much, but it has been settled. Producer Roy Lee teased in an interview with Bloody Disgusting that we might be getting news on the front soon, while Cunningham posted in his Cameo bio that the 13th installment in the franchise was coming our way in 2023. And we are getting a reboot, or I guess the question is that I have, since it's freed up and apparently they are moving forward with something Friday the 13th related, what do you guys think? Are we getting a reboot, a sequel to the 2009 reboot, or a legacy sequel where they kind of do like a Halloween 2018 and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where they kind of like forget about some of the other sequels and come back and say here's the true sequel or sequel to something or whatever? What do you guys think we're getting here, and are you excited to see Jason Voorhees once again on the screen?
No.
I
go to Trip first. Lady
okay.
first.
Thank you so much. I know that the one thing that's unique about Friday the 13th is everybody gets killed. The only thing that's consistent is Jason by and large. And I'm trying to think, like the later sequels, even they kind of, everybody pretty much dies, and the ones that survive really aren't heard from again, at least from the ones I've seen. And it's been a hot minute since I saw the later sequels. He goes into future, he goes into the outer space, he goes to Manhattan. I'm hoping that, I don't want to see it rebooted. I hope that they whatever the best case scenario is for that character, that they don't just, I hope they go that route as compared to just following what Halloween and everybody else did. And I don't really know what that would be. I do know with the lawsuit, they can't, I think it only covers the original, so it would be like they can't mention his mother, they can't do Camp Crystal Lake, maybe? Like there are certain things that they can't.
Well, that was the problem, was Cunningham and Miller were saying, we own Friday the 13th,
original.
We own everything that happened in that first film. Everything after that, Jason Voorhees, the name, I think they own that, but the character with the hockey mask was not of their creation. So it was just tied up as to who owns what, how, when, where. My understanding is it's all open season now, but it has to go through them because they own the rights again. So Cunningham and Miller have to say, yeah, sure, you can do that. Or you can use that. So it may all be open. I don't know, but we're getting something.
Yeah, I mean, it is such a cool series. I hope that whatever they choose to do, I hope it's the best for that character and not just a rehash because, every other horror movie is going in that direction. Sure. And that doesn't really answer it, but honestly, they've gone so many different directions with Jason. I think that it is kind of wide open as to what they could do, I don't think as long as they freeze him again and send him into the future and he comes back as a buff asshole, I think they're probably okay.
Hey, I like Jason X. By the way,
I love that one too.
He killed David Cronenberg.
He did. Shameless promotion. I have reviewed every single Friday the 13th or Friday the 13th related film on my channel. So go check out my Friday the 13th series.
Watch this Jason vs. Manhattan. Jason goes to Manhattan.
Jason, oh my God, that was bad. But Jason, the later Jason films, they get way out there and kind of like,
but they're fun. They're such fun.
But they are. They kind of let it go. They did like Freddy. They let it go and just went into it. They understood that they were, before memes, they were meme worthy at that point, and they really played into it. I enjoyed the later Friday the 13th movies, the Freddy versus Jason, the Jason X, the Manhattan. I didn't like that. But the Jason Goes to Hell. I hated that movie when it first came out. I saw that in theaters when it first came out, and I fucking hated it. But when I rewatched it a year or so ago, I really enjoyed it. That movie. Jason's hardly in it, really.
Is it the one where it's like the worm? It's kind of like the virus that goes from person to person.
Yes,
Okay.
and Jason himself,
I like
the
that one.
personification of Jason, is hardly in the movie, but I really enjoyed the movie. It was a good time. But what about you, Nick?
I don't care about the Friday the 13th franchise, to be fairly honest. I think
Moving on,
what
canceled.
happened the whole lawsuit thing, just I was like, I was over it. Shane Cunningham's kind of a dick anyway, so or Sean, whatever his name is. I have a friend who's a huge Friday the 13th fan, so I kind of, never, I always like poked fun at him and stuff like that, but I've never been. I'm more Michael Myers, so my kind of problems with the Halloween franchise right now. But Friday the 13th just never did anything for me, to be fairly honest. So if they make a new one, cool, I'll maybe watch it. But I'm sorry, I can't muster up any kind of interest in this property at all. So cool.
I'm with you.
I'm sure. I hope fans enjoy it, but I'm not real excited for it.
I'm with you there, but might I suggest, because that's kind of where I was, because Friday the 13th has just become kind of to me. But when I rewatched all of them, now it had its low points, that's for damn sure. There were some things in it. I really enjoyed a lot of those movies, going back and watching them back to back to back like I did a year or so ago. I did enjoy the later ones too. If you go into it knowing what you're getting, I had a really good time with the later ones. The first ones, the first 3 or 4 have their place, and then there's 5 and 6 are kind of. I think 5 was the one I really liked that one too. But then 6 was the one with the telepathic girl. That one sucked. But then they kind of said fuck it and went their own route, and I really enjoyed it after that. I would suggest trying them out again.
No, I get that. I have watched them many times. I found the idea that, a lot of it takes place in Camp Crystal Lake, and it just seems like the same shit over and over and over. And I don't know. It just, I'm very weird about horror films in general. Like I said, Halloween and, Trick or Treat and all that stuff. But I can't. Maybe one day we can watch it, watch one of the Friday the 13th, and maybe you'll change my mind.
You must watch Jason X.
I have watched Jason X, especially when he kills David Cronenberg.
Put the girl in the sleeping bag and beating him to death on the tree, and all the fucks they do not give in that movie just make it so great.
Oh yeah,
just so great.
The nipple part.
The one where, that's the one where that's the one where he picks up the bag and just punches her against the tree.
Yeah, well, that's a callback to one of the earlier films he does it, but in this one he goes ham and he's just whamming it on this VR tree or whatever, or holodeck tree, and the movie is so ridiculous, but I love it because it gives no fucks. It's like they made this movie and they're like, all right, we know what we're making. Fuck it. All the fucks went out the fucking airlock, and they just had such a good time with it. And it is, like you said, David Cronenberg is in the beginning of it and he died. It's a ridiculous. It's a bad movie, but it is so fun. It's a really fun movie. But
it's the definition of a good bad movie.
Yeah, absolutely, it absolutely is. It is just that right amount of good bad that I can get behind. Me myself, I don't want to see a reboot. Much like Triv said, I don't want a straight reboot. I would be okay. The Legacy sequel thing is kind of that's getting kind of played out, but this is what Nick wants, a reboot of. He had Stripe up there from Gremlins. But the Legacy sequel thing route with Halloween and whatnot is kind of played out. So I'm I don't know if I wanted to do that. I'd be down for it if they kind of just picked up where either Jason X or Freddy versus Jason left off or something. But I wouldn't mind seeing a 2009 sequel, the 2009 reboot, because I thought that was a solid reboot. I enjoyed that movie. I know it has lovers and haters, but I thought that was a pretty good, especially compared to the Nightmare on Elm Street reboot that happened the next year in 2010. I thought the 2009 reboot of Friday the 13th was Friday the 13th. It was very Friday the 13th. It gave us what we wanted. I liked that version of Jason.
Is that the-
I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel to that because they're going to do something. So if you're going to do it, I'd rather see that one. But then next, I'd say maybe a legacy sequel, depending on what they do. Another reboot. I just don't need another reboot. We've had so many iterations of Jason at this point. Just build off of something you already got. What were you saying, Nick?
Wait, was that remake the one with the supernatural guy?
Yeah, Jared
Padalecki.
Padalecki. He was
Oh,
the
God.
main, or kind of the main guy.
You guys
Yeah.
like that movie?
I don't remember it.
I did. I knew what it was going into it, and I enjoyed it for what it was. I don't think it's some tour de force or anything, but I mean, it was for a Friday the 13th movie. Yeah, it did what it was supposed to do. It had a bunch of characters.
Produced by Michael Bay.
Michael Bay explosions.
Well, I liked the Jason in it. I thought he was pretty imposing, and it was a good time. I mean, it had some good kills in it. It had one of the biggest douchebags in the entire series that you wanted to die so bad, and it took him so long to die. That was one of the best parts of the movie. This douchebag, you wanted him to be the first motherfucker to get off, and he's like one of the last ones. And when he does, it's like, finally, yes. I mean, it's got some other things, and it tries to expand on the lore a bit, and I'm just like, whatever. But I mean, it does what it sets out to be, a straight up Friday the 13th movie, and I thought it did pretty good on that. But that's my take on it. But all right, so yeah, Friday the 13th fans, we talked about that longer than I expected, but if you're a fan of Friday the 13th and you've been looking forward to something new, you're getting it. It's coming, apparently, according to Cunningham, in 2023. But that seems like kind of soon, maybe the end of 2023, but we're getting something else Friday the 13th. Hopefully it just won't be on Hulu. But let us know in the comments below which way you guys want it to go. Because it's happening either way. Do you want a sequel to the 2009 reboot? Legacy sequel, or just a fresh start altogether? We're getting something. Let us know. Okie dokie, ladies and gentlemen, that is all the news that we have of the week. We're going to go into a review here, and I know Nick's got to drop out, and he's got something he's got to take care of. I'm going to try and not have this take forever, but me and Triv are going to talk about this little movie. We are going to need to break for about 2 minutes so I can restructure a couple of things before we jump into this thing. So you guys give us just a few minutes. Before we get out of here, though, Nick, what you got going on over at your channel? Tell everybody where they can find you, and you guys definitely check out his channel. This is your moment to shine, my friend.
Dum dum dum.
Oh, it's my moment to shine. No. Yeah, sorry guys, I have to head out, but yeah, it's always fun to come on Jacob's show and talk movies and stuff like that. But yeah, right now I have a couple movies I can't talk about that I am watching or have watched that will be out next week. We have a new episode of the podcast that me, Triv, and Jacob are of course involved with, of course, the Fifth Dimension. Next week we talk an interesting movie called Dust, so look for that on Monday. But yeah, Movie Emporium, Twitter, Movie Emporium, Instagram, Anchor, Audio Boom. You know what? I'm just gonna show this, and then Jacob's gonna cut away. So here's Stripe. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, follow me on Movie Emporium. So, but anyways, yeah, that's where I'm at. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, Fifth Dimension. He kept saying Movie Emporium's on Audio Boom and all that. Fifth Dimension.
Oh, yeah. The Fifth Dimension.
The
yes,
podcast,
thank
by
you.
the way.
Twilight Zone podcast. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was gonna say something. I was gonna respond to something you just said. I can't remember what it was, but whatever. What I was gonna say. That one thing that are we gonna? That won't be next Wednesday, or that won't be Wednesday. We can't talk about that until not next Wednesday, but Saturday, right?
Yeah, we'll talk.
Thing.
We'll talk. Yeah. I gotta look it up, so we'll talk.
Okay, so we got a thing we're gonna talk about at some point that I'm excited.
Yeah,
to talk about.
Trev, you might get excited by this, so you might want to step away for a second. We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about next Wednesday. Oh yeah.
But either next I think it's actually going to be the following next Saturday, a week.
Yeah,
from today.
we'll talk. Yeah.
We're gonna talk
Your
about
people will call his people, and you'll both mutually jack each other off, right?
Well, I mean,
Yes.
mutual or non-mutual. Jacking off will be happening for sure. But no, we got some stuff, some good stuff here on this show and on our individual channels to talk about. So you guys definitely tune in to every show but we will be talking about something pretty cool, something newer. All right, Nick. Well, I really appreciate you, man, coming by and hanging out and talking about this week's news and stuff like that. I keep forgetting, or I keep missing that. What you're doing? There you go. There's your chance. Give us your salute. Double salute. Double rainbow. All right, so yeah, guys, give us about a minute and a half, 2 minutes to just move things around a bit, and then we will be right back to jump into this thing. And where is the pause button? There it is. Be right back.